at home. On the 14th floor in a bedroom door don't lie. So happy we don't gotta worry about the cops. We could all get arrested for this, but when the bodies mix, I don't give a shit tonight. Alright. Now she walks in the bedroom fast, despite all the noise from the crowd. Now she's bedless on the bathroom sink. Her mother would be so proud. Gets on the deed and there's a line to go pee, but the bathroom looks like a war zone.
Welcome in to episode 222 of Phired Up Sports. Check us out at firedupsports.com. I'm Mike Gilletto. Joining me as always, Mark Ramos. What's going on, Mark?
Not much, man. Rough morning today. Rough morning.
Yeah.
10 degrees. It was just
Yeah, I mean,
ice everywhere.
I mean, listen, if you thought today was bad, just wait another like 5 days when this thing's supposed to like come full steam ahead. Have you heard these forecasts for this weekend?
I did, and they're kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm out on snow. I'm out.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it. I'm out.
That's too much snow, I think. So. But we made it through. Trains were a mess trying to get into the city today for work, but we made it. So.
Yes. I just originally I saw like 18 inches. I said we can't have that. That can't happen.
No, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, I don't want to think about a foot. I don't want to think about 6. I don't even want to think about a dusting. I'm out on snow altogether. I'm out. Listen, I'm way more fired up about the Phillies in mid-January than I thought I'd be. We can kind of start there before getting into some coaching stuff, and Chris leaves a comment here about Dable. We'll talk about Dable at some point.
Okay.
Dable, McDaniel, all the candidates. But I because it's kind of topical, and there's been some comments about from our manager and our general manager, and about things going on with the Phillies. That's kind of where I wanted to start because it's like it's fresh in my mind right now, and I didn't have great expectations going into this offseason. But somehow I sit more angry today on January 20th than I was like, I don't know, November 1st.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to go from here, but like I need you to either talk me off the ledge, calm me down, or like tell me I'm valid for these thoughts.
I might just fire you up because
all right, okay.
I'm not as happy either.
Yeah.
Especially since it's one thing I think I'd be upset, not really. No, I mean, like the Bichette thing, I think just kind of there's mutual interest all the way through where it goes from there to they're getting him and then kind of 12th hour kind of thing. News comes down, Mets, and then the Phillies just kind of turn around and be like, all right, well, we did our best. We're just going to go back with the group that we have. And that's upsetting because, I mean, like, it did kind of feel like throughout the whole process, as much as we heard about Bichette, was that the Phillies and Dombrowski and JT Realmuto were kind of just waiting, it kind of seemed like, because that deal came down really quick after. So they like kind of pivoted pretty quick to that. But there was no other like, hey, we're going to take a big swing here. Nothing. They're still trying to move Castellanos, as we found out today. And I think we all figured that would be a little bit harder, than we would hope we would like it to be at this point. But I think the Bichette thing kind of adds the fuel to the fire like into the vitriol that um, that feeling you're feeling right now in the pit of your chest, Mike. I think
Yeah,
that comes
yeah,
from
it's accurate.
the Bichette. We had them, then we didn't have them, and then to have them go to a division rival of all
Yeah,
things. Um,
let's start there with the Bichette stuff. Because listen, I talked about how my feelings were on November 1st, and I wasn't all that optimistic about the offseason. I didn't think a guy like Bichette was even possible. Like I didn't really think of his name. I didn't think like I just didn't think it was a guy that they'd go after. No, we hear the reports or whatever, and it seems like it was mutually agreed upon, whatever you want to say, and then like you said, the 12th hour, the Mets come and ruin the dance for you. But who do we blame the most? Who are we more angry at in the Bichette thing? The New York Mets, which like we could always be mad at the Mets. Fuck the Mets.
yeah,
The Mets, Bo Bichette, or the Phillies themselves.
JT Realmuto. No, I'm kidding.
Sure, if you want to go that route.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll have plenty to be mad with him. I think as the season
Mhm.
goes, but I think Dombrowski, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, oh, too. Like, I think equal level. Like, I mean, you have to look at Middleton as well because he's been so vocal about not that or not all that long ago. I mean, they were talking about like stupid money. There's nothing we won't spend. And I know that they went out and they signed, I think it was Trey after that and all, and he got a big deal and all. But kind of as we've said on these shows, like it's an arms race now, like against LA. Everybody's trying to load up and beat LA. So
Good luck.
yeah, right. Good luck. And the Kyle Tucker deal that comes down kind of out of nowhere too
Mhm.
for them, and somehow the team that's won back to back titles is also the most improved team of the winter, and it just kind of makes it. Um, I guess I was more upset, yeah, with Dombrowski ultimately because he's the one kind of like on the phones trying to figure things out, trying to work out deals. But I think also too, it's like I think Middleton has, and this sounds crazy considering how much money he has spent, but it's just kind of like you kind of need to put your money where your mouth is, and you better be pretty sure that you're going to land some guys. And you know, I don't really, it doesn't really matter to me at this point. Um, it just looks too much like the team that we saw last year, and I think we were all really kind of upset with how that kind of all played out. So
Yeah.
it looks too much like it, and it's been a quieter off season that I would anticipate a team in their predicament would have, uh, or at least little bit more urgency. That whole "we like our team" kind of thing. I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that
No, 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 no.
you
Yeah,
like the
especially
group.
yeah, especially like, oh well, we've lost 20% of whatever quote Thompson said today. We got Crawford coming up. He threw like Otto Kemp's name in there. Andrew Painter, who like we're high on, but was dreadful last year in the minors. Like these are the guys coming up that like Thompson's touting as, hey, we're not running it back. We look at all these young fun pieces we have, and like you didn't get better. You lost Ranger, which like after looking at the Ranger contract, I'm not mad at them for losing Ranger. It's a lot of money, a lot of term for a guy who just can't stay healthy. I'm not mad at them for losing for losing Suarez, but
Right.
like at the same time, like the lineup got worse. The pitching staff got worse. Like maybe they have a guy like Painter penciled into the rotation, but who knows if he could like do it? Like who knows how good or effective he's gonna be in his first season in Major League Baseball when he was pretty bad last year in the
Right.
minors.
And I don't really have any real issue with that if you're kind of transparent about that whole process, right? Like, and they've kind of skirted around that, right? Like it's been, oh well, we have Crawford, Painters in the system, and all that, and but they don't represent upgrades today, and we're trying to win a title. Now,
Right.
if you believe that they can make that jump this year, that's a different conversation. But say that, you know what I mean? Don't just put out there, oh, we have these guys and we like them. It's like, you know, uh, I think there's only so many more cracks they're going to get at this. It's already the sand's already slipping through the hourglass as we speak with this current iteration of the Phillies, and you know they're only going to get another crack at it, and they're going to need probably a lot of luck for that to happen. Whether a team falls apart due to injuries, someone else upsets the Dodgers, and the Phillies have a clearer path. You know what I mean? You never know how it's going to play out come that point in the season, right? Like in October after that long monotonous year. But at the same time, I mean, like you have to, yeah, I don't know. I don't like how it all played out. I think they kind of got caught with their pants down with the Bichette thing. It was an embarrassing look. I think on top of the fact that it was you know, it, the fact that it was New York, and it just kind of like we kind of the news just kind of broke, in the middle of the day all of a
Kind of out of
sudden.
nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, really, it had to be them. It had to be the Mets.
Which, like, let's be honest, like, it was a panic move for them not getting Kyle Tucker. Like, if you
Oh,
look at
sure.
their lineup, like, Bichette, honestly, for the lineup, doesn't really make sense. Like, where are they playing them? Like, you have Simeon at second, you have Lindor at short. They have a young guy. Maybe they don't think he's ready yet, but Brett Beatty at third. They like him a lot. Like, do they just put Beatty on the bench or DH? And like, I don't know what their plan is
Now,
to put Bichette. I
I
have no
saw
idea.
I saw somewhere, maybe someone can correct me on this, but I could have swore I saw it somewhere that Bichette's going to play third, and if Beatty's ready, he's going to play the outfield. I don't know how much experience
Okay.
he has in the outfield, but that's like their plan. Um, and I think too, like just the a rare, like if you're looking for an upgrade, uh, it's just the virtue too. I think of the fact that Bichette just is, he's a 27-year-old free agent, and that just doesn't happen that often. You know what I mean today. So to get a player who like is still very much like at the peak of his
Uh,
powers, kind of thing like
I'm
that.
also forgetting about Vientos, who they like a lot.
Oh,
He's also in their infield.
yeah. So you know, I don't know if that means a trade. Some trades are going to come, or they're just going to ride it
Listen,
out.
they just have a crowded infield, and Tucker makes sense because obviously he's the outfielder different. Like, but they lost out on Tucker and was like, let's just fuck it. Like, we need to do something.
Right.
So then they came in
Just add the
and
talent.
yeah, and it's kind of like how I was saying with the Phillies last couple weeks is like, yeah, we have Stott at second, we have Bohm at third, Turner short. Like, figure it out. Yeah, sign him and figure it out later. So
Right. Right. And that was kind of the feeling. So,
that's
but
why.
like,
Okay, so Chris says Vanthor's going to first, I guess, after moving on from Alonso. So that would make sense. That helps.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think too, man. I think on top of it, it's just, um, yeah, it just looks too much like the team that they've had, and
Mhm.
they're another year older, and
And like the Braves will be back. I know they had a rough like year or two, but once they get fully healthy and what's his name, Strider's back pitching the way we know he can, like they'll be back. I think they'll be. I don't know if they'll win the division, but I think they'll be. I think they'll be competitive. So
yeah, when they get their guys back, they'll be a tough out. The Braves are also a team that I think is really good at finding talent in the margins, and turning them into legit players. So, I wouldn't fully count them out. Like you said, as they get healthy and they have, their top guys are legit top guys, like they're legit good. And then, the Mets are, I think at least on paper, they're gonna have more talent in their lineup. So, and for all the reasons you mentioned, yeah, I don't know where, kind of how they move forward and look at what they have and think that that's going to be enough to, and maybe they don't think that, you know, maybe there could be a lot of internal strife about that, and then united front when they go out there, kind of thing, and talk to people. But
their starting pitching still kind of stinks, though.
yeah,
I mean, you got, I mean, Manea, Senga, Montes are 1, 2, 3. Like the top two's decent, but like I don't know. Montes, Combs, Peterson is there 3, 4, 5. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
No, no. And I think the Phillies are still, their pitching's still pretty good, and there were at least
Is
a
it
lot of.
though? Is it?
Well, okay. Let me clarify. Like the starting pitching's, I think, pretty good.
Okay, okay. I mean, you go into the season. What's Wheeler won't be ready. Probably a month into the season, maybe we could expect him. I don't know exactly the timeline, but something like that. So, but for all counts, let's count him as their number one. Then who's Nola? Do you trust Nola right now, heading into the season?
I feel like you've asked me like 5
Yeah,
times over the last 5
well,
months.
I feel like it changes. I feel like
No.
it changes.
It does.
Yeah, he's just a very volatile pitcher.
No, yeah, it does. And I don't know. I still don't know the answer to that. You asked me 4 or 5 times. I don't think I've ever answered the question straight one
Right.
time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that means for your number 2. Well, I mean, I guess Sanchez is Sanchez number 1.
Right.
Without
Starting the
Wheeler.
season. Yep.
Yeah, without Wheeler. But
yeah, I trust Sanchez. I don't. Without the medical stuff, I've always trusted Wheeler. So like, if he can bounce back, and is Zach Wheeler again, all right, I can trust Wheeler. Can't really trust Nola. Luzardo, I think is still pretty solid. Maybe 3, 4 guy.
yeah.
And then who else? And I guess Painter would be the last guy, or some semblance of Walker or whoever else. But
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, as we kind of go through it, I feel less confident about it. But especially because I already forgot that Wheeler's not going to be ready to start.
yeah,
So, and then when you get back, you have that whole adjustment period, right? So, who knows? It might take him a little while to. But it would be great if I mean, like, and we said this month, I think right after the season ended, it was kind of like we were both kind of weary of the idea of coming into next season, with these spots open for these guys, provided in camp and in spring they don't earn those spots or they need more time. What does that mean for, that spot on the roster? Like, because if you can't count on Painter to be in that rotation for all the reasons we just mentioned, it's like it gets a lot more murky to try to figure out and kind of bridge the gap, at least until Wheeler gets back. And then even then, we don't know what version of him at this point in his career we're going to get. So it's a tough spot to be in. And I don't know, man. I don't love the group as is. I like them a lot less.
If Wheeler or if Painter can't like crack this rotation with no Zach Wheeler to start the season, like there's essentially 2 spots open. If he can't crack it to start the opening day, then I think we got bigger problems. And I almost want to stop hearing about how great of a prospect Andrew Painter is.
Yeah.
If he can't crack this team opening day.
Yeah. Well, how old would he be on opening day?
What, 25-ish? Give or take.
No, he's older than I thought.
Right? I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It feels like he's been around forever. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I could tell he's 22. I'm dumb. I'm way off. He's 22 years old. But still, it feels like he's been in the system for, I don't know, 5-6 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, you got to be like, pitchers are. It's tough with pitchers, and in baseball, it's the hit and miss ratio of it is crazy, right? Like you can draft an arm, with the 20th overall pick, and the player that's taken, 200th and something could be like a Hall of Fame guy one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could be really crazy that way in baseball, but yeah,
He was drafted in 2001, so he's been here for 5 years.
2021.
2021, he was drafted. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I would prefer they just kind of like. I mean, they're going to probably have to do that anyway. But I mean, I would imagine we see some guys come in on maybe some, um, deals. The minor league deals are kind of spring training deal kind of thing. Guy try to earn a spot kind of thing, like a veteran guy. Just again to bridge the gap, But yeah, it was a tough situation, especially to see it play out with Bichette, and for them to kind of be in that is as much as they were apparently in on it, like having the Don Mattingly connection and all that stuff, and for it to come up short like that, and it be a rival. I mean, even if it ultimately is Bichette's choice, I mean, it's still kind of embarrassing, you know. What I mean?
Yeah, you got to
Uh,
close the deal. That's it.
yeah, exactly. It's
Close the
like
deal.
so, like I would love to be privy. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that situation to know how quickly that turned around and how the Mets were able to get that done. But it does happen sometimes. Um, but we're I'm far beyond at this point making excuses for the Phillies. I mean, it's time to go and
Yeah.
and get something
Right.
done of significance here. Uh,
Yep. So then the Bichette news kind of comes and goes, and very, very, very shortly after that, it was announced that they signed JT to 3 years, 45 million. That could turn into 60. I've seen some of the incentives. It won't be 60. It'll be 45. If I had to guess, but it's a deal where like obviously it happened so quickly. It seems like it's a number that's kind of been on paper that they've talked about for a while. That they were just kind of waiting. I think Dombrowski even said like, yeah, we told him that an offer was for Bichette, and if we got Bichette, we probably weren't going to sign JT. So it seemed like he wanted to be here, but at the same time, it was kind of a waiting game, as if there was enough money for him here. Um, I've said it a bunch of times since the season ended. The Phillies are a better team with JT Realmuto than without. I don't know that it would have gone to 3 years and 45 million. Seems like a decent chunk of change for a guy like JT at his age for 3 years, but I feel like you almost had to do it because what was the alternative?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it would have been one of those things again, right? Like where on paper it would have been you're kind of hedging your bets a little bit without JT. It may be better, but you don't know that. Someone would have to step up. You know, um, the incentive stuff was interesting because I thought to myself like one of them was like All Star appearance, one of the incentives in his deal, which is a fan vote. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not even like a
Yeah, I have it here. So he $2 million if he's elected to the All Star game as a starter via the fan vote. I don't think that'll happen. 1 million if selected to the All Star game as a reserve. So like I guess that could happen. That's not all that surprising.
yeah.
1 million for winning the Gold Glove or Silver Slugger. I don't think that'll happen. And then this is the funniest one of them all: 2 million for finishing in the top 10 in MVP voting. That certainly will not happen. If he is top 10 in MVP voting, give him 50 million. What do you need 2 million for? Like I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I actually thought I was like if I had to say which one I thought was most likely, I would have thought like maybe a Gold Glove, maybe
Hmm.
like, but for the other ones, I mean, the other ones seem really kind of far fetched, and I'm certainly not voting for him at this point for an All Star game or an All Star starter, or whatever.
Yeah,
Provided like you were saying, if he is having an MVP caliber season, I guess all of those would then hit. But
yeah. I guess theoretically, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't think any of those are happening. So that was kind of interesting that was out there. So
Yeah, it just made me laugh. I'm like the top 10 in MVP voting. What are we on? What I don't know.
yeah, they were interesting for sure. I just thought though the one with the fan like the All Star thing because it's we vote on that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
So it's like
Yes.
kind of like if he's not playing well, it's not like Phillies fans are going to turn. We're going to be like, this guy stinks. Like, it's
Yeah, right. Yeah,
not like
exactly.
anybody's going to be out there voting for him. You know?
But
So
the reserves, I think, are done by Major League Baseball. I don't know if it's players or coaches,
uh
but the Major League Baseball votes on that. So I could see him being a reserve
yeah,
if he has a good enough season. But
yeah, yeah. So maybe it'll happen. But
I don't know. I mean, pitcher and catchers probably report in like a month, right? That was pretty soon,
it's
less
got
than
to
a month.
become,
Maybe.
yeah, it's got to be
It's
not that.
usually it's usually like a week or two after the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
So, um, so I'll pull this comment back up. Sixers just went final. They lost 116 to 110 to the Suns. Speaking of All-Star game starters, Tyrese Maxey, well deserved.
yeah, yeah. What a really awesome thing. Um, and cool to see, like him and VJ Edgecombe. I
Yeah,
think Edgecombe had said he knew before Maxie, and he was like blowing him up. Maxie said he was sleeping, kind of like leave him alone, kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of like the East is kind of wide open. This has been a fun. They've been better than expected, this year.
yeah.
Like,
That,
I,
and that Edgecombe Maxey thing happened like after the sideline thing. Did you see them kind of going at it on the sideline
yeah,
like last
yeah,
week? Yeah,
and that's exactly though, like what that's exactly what you want. I think, you want guys to pull each other up and hold each other accountable,
definitely.
and it sometimes conflict's not a bad thing, right? Provided nobody's getting disrespectful, it's not a bad thing always, and um, to see them kind of have whatever that was on the bench, a little spat, whatever, and then to be hugging on each other like brothers after the game. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
And without running away, to your agent or whoever and say, I'm done here, like that kind of thing, which is all too prevalent, I think, in all sports now, where it's just like, you're not going to like everybody you work with, but you can sure as hell make things happen. And, maybe you don't click anywhere else, but you might click on the floor,
yeah,
and that goes for any sport, any job, anything like that, so, um, yeah, so I mean, like that was a really awesome honor for Tyrese. He does deserve it, and I would love to see him carry it in. And I do think if he carries it in his play currently, he's able to carry that into the second half of the season. We could theoretically we could be talking about like All NBA, potentially MVP candidate this year. Like that's how good he's been, and
yeah. He's been great.
and I don't think coming into this year, even though I like Maxi and all, I didn't know he had that level. I didn't think of him in that type of light. But props to him, for doing that and getting the Sixers kind of back on the map here. That's allowed, I think, Joel and all the guys to kind of settle in. Joel's had some really good nights. I know he had a good game the other night against Indiana, and I'm not sure if he played tonight or not, but
And the thing is, like having a guy like Embiid. Obviously, we know how like talented he is and how great he is at basketball, but like there were so many years where they like had to rely on him and you just couldn't because his body would break down and those sort of things. But if you have like a Maxi who's playing at like an MVP level, it kind of allows Embiid to kind of take the backseat a little bit and it's not so much on his shoulders like he usually has been.
yeah, I think that's and I think he's okay with that. He
I think he's
seems
okay
like
with that now. I don't know
he's
if he
okay
would
with
have
that.
been. Yeah, I don't think he would have been okay with it 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, and I think the fact that he's willing to kind of just like, hey, I'll fit in where you need me. Even Paul George has kind of had that, kind of he hasn't really made much noise in terms of like being upset or anything like that, and there's nights where he does have the ball in his hands a lot, PG, but um, I think he's okay with like, hey, we're all going to eat here, and as long as we're winning, I don't think anybody's really going to complain about it, and or at least we hope they don't, but I think it's been they've been better than I thought, this year. I'm a little bit hit glass half full on the Sixers right now because I mean, after last season, I was just like, I had no idea. Like coming
Yeah.
into this year, I was ready for them to just rip it down to the studs again. And, the fact that Maxi's game took a different step, Edgecombe came in, immediately made an impact and looked like a player, really kind of changed it for me. And so I'm on board. I like what they're where they're at right now. And again, yeah, like props to Tyrese for his All Star nod as a starter.
Although they gotta figure out their record at home. So their away record 12-7, pretty solid. Their home record now 11-12.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's still like this or if the numbers had balanced out earlier in the year. They were getting like smashed in the third quarter. Like their numbers in the third quarter would, like they were for sure going to give up, a 14-2 run or something like that. You know what I mean? And like the numbers supported that. Like the third quarter was
I
far and away
wonder
their worst quarter.
I wonder why. It seems more like coaching. It seems like you're not putting I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, it could have been, it might look a lot better now than it did.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm not watching them every night. I do catch them, especially when I'm doing the drunk on broad shows with Don and all on the weekend mornings and stuff. Like we talk a good bit of Sixers, and I try to watch them, especially like leading up to those shows. Um, but so I'm not watching them every night, so I don't know if the numbers support that still. But I know at one point earlier in the year, like the third quarter was a real rough quarter for them. So, um, like hopefully they're able to figure those things out if they haven't already.
Yeah. I was gonna see if I could pull it up real quick, but I can't. I can't find that stat.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we can move on. Talk a little Eagles here. We're still kind of on the coaching search. It seems like they brought in Dable for an interview. He's one guy that I wouldn't mind seeing. He's got history with Hurts, obviously from his time in Alabama. He had a lot. I talked about it last week. Had a lot of success with Josh Allen in Buffalo. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Buffalo either to be their head coach. Now they whack McDermott after losing that game. Which, by the way, before we get into like Eagles, like, did you watch any of that game? Did you see the controversial interception? Like, what's your thought on that?
Um, was this the play that was it the one with Cooks where he hits the ground?
Yep.
Is that the one you're talking about? Okay.
Uh, was it that one? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because then it was what? It was the Rams Bears game, and a similar play got called differently. Um,
Yes. 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 Yeah, that
so
was Devontae Adams. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it was
yeah,
the
but yeah,
Devontae Adams,
Mhm.
and they looked pretty
Yes,
similar.
where the defender kind of rolled over on him, grabbed the ball,
Yeah.
like by rule, and I understand where people are coming from with how they called it correct and it should be an interception. I see that catch. I see that as a catch every day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think especially too, like if you know, so what's the ball like? If they both have their hands on the ball, is that what it?
So
Is that like where
I
we're at
think their
with this?
call. I think their call was that when you have to maintain complete control going to the ground when making a catch, and while he's going down, the defender kind of rips it. Again, the knee's on the ground, so in my opinion, I think he's down right there. But apparently, you got to maintain control through the entire catch, through
Hmm.
the ground or whatever. And while they're on the ground, the defender kind of rips it out of his hands, and that's where they say control was switched.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think, yeah, I think that's like a down by like you're down by contact at that point.
Yeah.
Plus, too, like I feel like provided it's rare in a play like that, right, where the wide receiver's underneath the corner, right? He's usually ahead of him, and the
Hmm.
corner's underneath him, and it's just kind of like if you're going to come down on somebody and you're going to land on them, I think like physics would dictate that your momentum is going to help you rip that ball out.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of that. I don't know. Like the fact too, like it just makes it more confusing, especially that it was called one way in one game, and then a similar play, literally the same night or the next night, whatever it was, happened, and it was called differently. So
Yeah, consistency is not the NFL's forte for sure.
and it's
I'm
just
like, I don't believe that like they're out here like throwing games or fixing games or whatever.
no,
Like, I just think the officials are bad. Like, I have heard people, oh, the NFL is rigged or whatever, but like, the NFL is not rigged because I'm sure the NFL would much rather have Josh Allen in the next round than Bo Nix or Jared Stidham or whoever the next quarterback is. But like,
yeah.
they'd rather have Josh Allen there. I just think I just think it's bad. I just think the officiating is bad.
I think too, it's like sometimes we're just like everything is so like we're so like now on top of it where we see everything from multiple angles and stuff like that, and we almost discredit entirely. I think you had made a tweet about this
I did,
recently, like
yes, I
where
did.
it's like, but it's true. It's like when you're trying to like, some of that is the human element
Hmm.
of sports, and um, provided it's not egregious, it's like, but now I feel like everybody has a case. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In that, and it's easy to Monday morning quarterback it. So I don't know. Like I feel like we should kind of let up on the stripes a little bit on some of these,
yeah,
especially because they don't get like if it's like Andres Galarraga kind of thing,
yeah, yeah,
that's egregious. You bring that up and make sure my man gets his no hitter.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know what I mean? With Jim
I think it
Joyce,
was a perfect. I think it was a perfect game,
perfect
wasn't
game,
it? Yeah,
perfect game. Uh, that is a way back reference. I don't even know if
yeah,
some people
yeah.
might not even get that at this point.
Now
But
look it up 'cause it's wild. The guy's still probably getting death threats.
yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, provided it's not something like that where it's like incredibly like no doubt about it. This got jacked up. Um, you know,
Yeah, yeah. So my tweet, we could talk about it because like
yeah,
it's one of the things where like this might be my the hottest take I've ever had. Like because I'm sure I'm very alone because people want to get the calls right, but get rid of replays, get rid of replay reviews altogether. Like I know you're saying the obvious ones, whatever, but like I think we've gone too far. I think we've gone way too far with
no,
replay. Everything gets looked at, um, and it's like if sports is such like a fast game. We're talking about these high speed football or hockey, even like they're all so high speed that like we break it down to like each fraction of a frame, and that's
mhm,
not the way sports intend to be played. Like it's just not.
yeah.
So put the human element back in it. Get rid of replays altogether, and have the refs call what they see on the field.
See, like you're saying a hot take, but like I actually agree with a lot of that. I think like it's almost like this over correctness of, like where now we're breaking it down and there's like 50 million angles and there's like this super zoom thing with this crazy lens that only like the leagues have and all. And it's like, and then it turns into like everything's reviewable, but then like nothing's reviewable because we can't even find any level of consistency with it.
Hmm.
Like, and that goes across the board, like in all of sports. Like basketball does it now, hockey does it. God, like I mean, does anybody know in hockey like what goaltender interference looks like these days?
It's yeah,
Because
it's become what is a catch in the NFL.
yeah,
It's like,
what is a
nobody
catch?
knows what
What
goalie
is a catch
interference
in the
is.
NFL? What's goalie interference?
Yeah.
And it's like we have all these tools now because we look at everything, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't, like you said, it's gonna there's a human nature element to it where like yeah, like if you can definitively pick it out and you have a hard and fast rule, like hey, this is what this is and what it isn't, you have to get the rule as black and white as you can get it to prevent those types of things. And
Dude, if you want to talk about bad officials, MLB might take the cake. They're the absolute worst. And like it's the slowest game possible and they're horrendous.
yeah,
That's one sport where I'm like take the human element out of the game. Give me robo umps cuz I
so,
don't want Major League Baseball umpires anywhere near baseball.
Yeah, see, like I think sometimes like home plate, the guys at at home plate, like I'm not saying their job's easy, but sometimes they bring up these like the heat map things. Like
Yeah,
all the broadcasts have them now,
it's like
and I mean,
80%. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's like a couple feet off the plate. You know what I
It's
mean?
insane. No, I
And
think I really think that the MLB has evolved so much because like back in the '90s, yeah, you have like a Randy Johnson who can pump it up at 100, 101, but like he was kind of the outlier. Whereas now everybody does it, so I don't think human eyes can keep up with like 103-mile-an-hour fastball from Paul Skeens. I just
right,
don't. I just don't think you can anymore. So I think you might have to just because of that. I think you have to go with the automated strike zone.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, but then like I guess too, it's like I never understood like how would that work for other? Are we doing automated for everything? Like you are we having like
What do you mean? Like a runner's out at home plate? All like is that what you're talking about?
yeah, or like throwing a guy out at second? You know, guys
No,
trying to
no.
steal second.
I still want umps in the field, even though I
Right.
still think they stink. I still want umps in the field. Because there's nothing more frustrating. Like you said, you watch the box on the TV, which who knows if that's even 100% accurate. But you watch
That's
the
true.
box on the TV, you watch the box on TV, and it looks like a ball's a foot and a half outside, and they call it a strike. Like that's infuriating.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's something, you know, especially um, you know, when the guys argue it, you know, and I think before all of that, we used to think like right away, oh, this guy's just complaining.
Yeah.
And then like now you actually see, you're like, wow, he actually really had a case. That really wasn't a strike, or you know what I mean?
God forbid you argue. These home plate umpires are so goddamn soft that they toss you immediately. That's the
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
Like
You
at least
can't
be held
even,
accountable. You can't say a word.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they get real annoyed about it real quick. But I heard I may have said this on here, but I heard I actually read in Jose Canseco's book. He wrote a
Okay.
story in his book about the first time he faced Nolan Ryan, and
There's
Nolan
no way he
Ryan.
actually wrote that too. By the way.
Yeah, probably not. There was probably a ghostwriter or something like that.
Like,
But
I love Jose Canseco. I think he doesn't seem like a guy that's willing to write a book. He
yeah,
definitely had somebody, ghostwrite for him, probably gave him quotes, whatever. But
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, it's okay. Yeah, I he definitely had to have had multiple editors on that. I would have loved to have been
Yeah,
an editor on that.
yeah, definitely.
Uh, but yeah, in his book, he wrote about a story about when he faced Nolan Ryan for the first time, and Nolan Ryan struck him out three times at four at bats or something like that. He went down looking every time, and he complained to the home plate ump about the call, and he's like, "You've been giving him that all day," and that's not a strike, and he said the home plate umpire, and I think he names him, but I don't remember his name. I haven't read the book in a long time, but he says in there like, hey kid, like you look out on the mound there, and you know who's pitching today? That's Nolan fucking Ryan. Like
Like,
basically,
yeah,
go sit down. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of like,
I respect that mentality, but at the same time, a ball is a ball no matter who's on the mound. A strike is a strike no matter who's out. Like, I don't
yeah,
know, be consistent.
yeah, and I guess too, it's just like you know, at some point, like I guess like if Yon Duran becomes like a legendary closer, like a la Mariano Rivera style, and for the Phillies, and he plays the rest of his career for the Phillies, and he's getting borderline or not so great calls. I mean, maybe that just maybe you earn that reputation. You earn that ability to get that call. Um, but again, like that goes to your point too. That's just kind of like that's gamesmanship. That's a part of sports. So um, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it would work though
Yeah,
with automated strike zone plus umpires in the field. It would look like a swarm of bees out there.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, you just kind of have it regular. Like, you still have a guy behind home plate, because he's going to have to be there for either fair or foul balls. He's going to have to be there for plays at the plate. So you still have a guy behind home plate, and the same guys in the field, but he has, whether he has an earpiece in or something, somebody's relaying him the call, then he can make the actual call.
See, I'm
I think
thinking
that's the
like,
way you do it.
yeah. See, I'm thinking like robots, like Jetson style on the field, like with MLB polos on. That's what I was thinking about. Having
The what?
having like Jetson robots when you said
I mean,
that.
listen, that's fine too. If you want to make baseball more interesting, do wacky shit like that. Sure, I'm in.
Can you imagine someone striking out and then just taking it out on the robot?
just teeing off on that. Yeah,
Yeah,
teeing off on the robot. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
like
You
the
know
old
what? I
water
want to see
polo.
that. Yeah, exactly. It's fine. The Los Angeles Dodgers can afford to hire new robots.
Yeah, yeah,
Just charge it to the Dodgers bill.
yeah. I don't know. Get Tesla on that or something. Like Elon could probably figure something out.
Nah, he's still too probably busy going to Mars or something. Who knows
Yeah.
what he's up to?
Well, fix America's game. That's our pastime.
Listen, the Savannah Bananas are trying it. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, do wacky shit like they do. If a fan catches a foul ball, it should be an out. I'm in. That's one of the greatest ideas ever. Like, I'm
That's
in. I'm
pretty.
in on that. It's great.
You get everybody bring a glove to the ballpark because you
Yeah.
want to help your team.
Yep.
You know,
And if you catch a ball without a glove, 2 outs.
2 outs.
You get 2. It's a double play. 2 outs.
Fuck it. End of the inning. Triple play. You catch it with no glove.
Sure. Yeah.
Line drive too.
Yeah. It's gonna leave a mark. It's gonna be a stinger, but it's well worth it. I just ended my team's inning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. We're way off. We're way off here.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about the Eagles, but like McDaniel's apparently going to the Chargers, so like it's one guy off the list apparently. But so I'm not even really. I'd rather talk about Major League Baseball and how we could fix Major League Baseball. What are the thoughts on the talk about 2027 MLB lockout possibly happening? I don't think it's possible. I think it's definitely going to happen. I think it's without a doubt definitely going to happen.
Yeah. I kind of feel that way too. And like all the talk where like everybody says that, like where everybody's like there's going to be a stoppage and they have to institute a hard cap. And maybe we talked about this before, Mike, but like I don't know how you do that. No. Like with the money so like one of two things are going to happen. Like I mean it's going to be a long process, I would imagine. I can't imagine that the players would not like if the money is the big thing, these guys aren't going to take like these guys aren't going to like want to then have their earnings capped.
Right,
You know
which
what
is
I mean?
which is exactly why the lockout's going to happen because
Right.
like the players don't want it, and the owners are going to feel like hell for it. And I don't even know if like it may be a team like the Phillies or like whoever is going to fight for a salary cap, but like I don't think those teams really care about the salary cap. Like the Dodgers obviously won't because it helps them. Like the Phillies, the Yankees, the Mets, like these teams aren't going to fight for a salary cap. But it's like the middling teams who have like no chance to compete with the Dodgers and the amount of money they have. Like it's ridiculous. Like. And so I do think that's why they're going to lock out because they're never going to be able to agree. The players are never going to give that up. Like we heard the quote from Bryce Harper, talking to Manfred and his minions or whatever you want to call them about get the fuck out of our clubhouse if you're going to talk about the salary cap. Like the players obviously do not want a salary cap, and the owners are going to fight for it. So I think it's going to be a very 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 messy negotiation. Very.
I saw something the other day about right after Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers. I had seen a thing that said if the Pirates had offered him the same contract, that they would still be under the luxury tax threshold by like 60, 70 something $1 million.
I believe that 100%.
And it's like, okay, like so like is your way to kind of do it? Maybe you don't cap the salaries, but maybe like
Have a floor.
you set a floor, like a pretty high floor because the money's high now. and like these other teams are going to have to hit them. Or even if you're in a rebuild, you're going to have to spend some money.
I do think that a floor is just as, if not more important than a cap. I think both need to happen, but I think a floor is incredibly important. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
like some of the bottom teams that just like that don't really care as long as they make their TV money. Is like they look at it more like a business than a sports franchise, and they don't measure it as success or with success. They measure it with dollars and cents. As long as they make a profit, they're fine with it. I like and like the Marlins. Although I don't even know how the Marlins even make money because the place is never full. But like
Yeah.
a place like the Marlins that like hardly ever spend any money, or the Rays, who like the Rays notoriously do really well at drafting, and they develop guys, and as soon as the guy is ready to get paid, they don't want to pay him, they move on. Even a place like Houston or a place like Detroit, which like is weird because I know we look at Detroit as like a big city or whatever, but they don't bring in the money of a Chicago or a New York or an LA. Whereas like Tarek Skubal is probably going to get traded because they don't want to pay him, they can't afford that money. Like I think instead, just like capping the Dodgers or the Mets from being able to spend $7 trillion, I think you have to force the Pirates, the Reds, the Marlins, the Rays to spend money as well. I think
Yeah.
that's the floor.
Yeah. And get creative in terms of like, we've seen it throughout we've seen it in like as recent as like 25, 30 years ago too, where small market teams can and do win the title. The Astros had some really good teams, um, provided, even when you look past the whole cheating scandal thing that they were stealing sign thing. But I mean, like they were a good team, and they're in a smaller, you know, uh, like it's an odd thing, because like you would think too, like a place like Miami, a place like Tampa Bay would be really, really good for baseball in the sense. Look at like other smaller market success stories, like teams like the Giants and all have had success, and they're
Hmm.
just in that Bay Area there. Um, so it can be done, but it feels less. It feels more and more like you have to pay to play, and less like, hey, there's like a competitive balance here where even though you may not be able to spend, you'll not, like if you're the Pirates, not to pick on the Pirates, but like you'll never
No,
be
we
able
can
to
pick on the Pirates.
uh, like you'll never be able to spend money
No,
like the
no,
Yankees
you
or
have no
Dodgers.
chance.
But if you're really, really good at evaluating talent and doing things like the Rays, for example, who've had some good teams in recent years and stuff like that, um, you you find a way, and like I mean, we'll see too. It'll be interesting because like that just doesn't happen in baseball, but it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the A's in Vegas and how that changes their order of business. Like, uh, because I mean, everything they've had there so far has been successful. You know,
Yeah,
the
but
the
if the owner
move,
doesn't have to spend money, then who cares? Like,
right? And I mean, like the hockey team got there first. The Golden Knights, super successful out of the gate.
mhm.
Um, the Raiders, not really, but you know what I mean. The transition was
but it's the NFL, and it's always gonna like people are always gonna watch the NFL.
right, right, and so here's a like a franchise like the A's who have this like, and it's funny because the A's have this really, really great history attached to them, you know, and but like I mean the last several years in Oakland were so bad, that like
And they can't even get approved for the trademark for athletics. So like they might have to change their name.
it might be something else, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
so
I don't know why you
uh,
wouldn't think of that before you move to Vegas and figure out if you get a trademark, but
yeah.
Oh, and why can Oakland Athletics be trademarked, but Vegas Athletics can't? I don't. I'm not a trademark lawyer, so I don't know. But like, it just seems
Yeah.
very very strange.
Oh, it's intricate. I read about all that stuff
Yeah.
at work,
Okay.
copyright law and all that fun.
Yeah.
It's uh it's riveting stuff, I'll tell you. But I think it's
So do you know why they wouldn't be able to get the trademark if they like Oakland Athletics is trademarked? Why can't Vegas Athletics be trademarked?
no, I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know if you read up
Yeah,
on
I'm
that.
not sure um, how far that goes down, like how far the rabbit hole
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
in terms of like why they can't do that or whatever. But yeah, man, it's a shame for the game. The fans will suffer. I mean, baseball. When the strike. I mean, the strike almost killed the game the last time, and well, that was a strike, not a stoppage. The players weren't locked out, but
And then they said, "Hey guys, shoot up a bunch of steroids so you can make our game fun, and then we're going to punish you in 30 years for it."
yeah, I mean, we can. If you want to go off on that, I mean, we can talk.
But then today, Carlos Beltran gets put in the Hall of Fame after being the figurehead behind the Houston Astros cheating scandal from 2018 or
Yeah,
17, whatever year that was.
right.
So that cheating was fine, but steroid cheating is not.
Yeah, there's levels to cheating, right? I mean,
Yeah. I guess some cheating's fine, some cheating's not. That's
yeah, yeah. Like, there's a difference between like stealing a loaf of bread and robbing a bank. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a valid analogy, I guess.
yeah,
Sure.
like what crime fits what punishment? It's like that's kind of like man, we're getting real philosophical on this one.
We are, yes. We are.
I just like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it can, it'll be interesting there, like with that, and I don't know, I don't know, I don't know what the answer is to that. Um, I think what you said though is an apt point about there's going to at least have to be a floor,
Yeah.
and like just so everybody reaches a certain level, and if that brings up everybody being competitive, right? Because I was never a big fan of in the past, like when they were going to add the four playoff teams or whatever it was, like
Hmm.
the super wild card thing, whatever that was. I was not a fan of that. I was very much a traditionalist in the sense that I wanted the same number of teams make it. It's a sprint, not a marathon. That whole deal.
I
And
don't I don't love it, but I get it.
but I'll tell you what, watching the games now, like there's a lot more teams in it till the
Yep.
end,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, well, I think that's the reason you do it is you keep more teams and more fan bases interested longer because you're in the fight longer. But like at the same time, if you're a top, I don't know, if you're, in my opinion, I think it makes the regular season less meaningful, which is why I don't love expanded playoffs in any sport. Because
yeah,
I think players have already told us the regular season doesn't matter. So if you add more playoff teams, I think it just makes regular season even less important than it already was. But I understand why they did it, 100%.
yeah, yeah, I think so, and um, yeah, I think like baseball is a sport too. Like, I mean, they probably could afford to shave. They won't do this, but probably could afford to shave 15, 20 games off that schedule,
Oh, easy.
and go back, you know, like go back to, I think it was what I think it was in the 60s. I think they were playing 140 something. I think before that, I was like
Yeah,
120 something
especially
games.
like nowadays with quote unquote sports science and all these days off that we give these players. Like the season's gotten further and further back. Like we don't need to. The season doesn't need to end in like on Halloween. Like
Yeah.
end the season a month sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody
Nobody's
would complain about that, you
no.
know? And like you said, like with everything we know today, and plus, too, like baseball, for a sport that moves slower and stuff like that, society's different today, where like, We have everything, like we can have anything we want ordered to us. There's like a very
Yeah. Yep.
instant gratification type of thing. So like where baseball can be very slow and played out and drawn out. And I appreciate some of those efforts that the games made, that the MLB's made, in terms of like trying to like speed the game up, so it's not as you can't. And not that anybody would. Yankee Red Sox is running 4.5 hours. Like that's a
And I'm
big.
watching every second of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big commitment though,
Sure.
for
Yeah.
people to do. And so, as things change, I think you have to kind of evolve with it. And there's no way like guys are going to take less, right? Like that's the whole overarching theme. That when we talk about like a lockout, potentially all that stuff, uh, something something else is going to have to be done, because there's no way they're going to take less. And I can't imagine that like trying to put a hard cap on it. I don't think is going to be not when the contracts are what they are now.
Yeah.
Like,
And another thing, and I've talked about it before, is like I think the big sticking point is also going to be deferrals. Like these deferrals have gotten crazy. Like you don't need to pick Shohei for another 60 years. Like it's the deferrals have gotten way too far. I think you need to pump the brakes on the deferrals and nip that in the butt. You pay what you pay that season. That's it.
yeah, yeah, I think so. Or just simply go to like, I don't know, from a like a contract structure standpoint, but you either get most of your money up front, you either front load that thing or you back load it.
Hmm.
You can decide which you want to do.
Right, but it's got to
But
be the duration of the contract.
yeah, but you gotta pay a significant portion of it. Like
Yeah,
for the insurance of competitiveness. Like you
right,
can't like, have Otani making, 500 grand.
right. I think he's making like 2 million for this contract. Like it's
Yeah. So, and I don't blame the LA for,
no, I can't blame him at all. Like they have the money. Why not?
yeah. And like they're taking advantage of something that exists,
Hmm.
right, in the system. It's a loophole. Teams have done that for years and years and years. Nothing they're doing is like, from what I understand, is illegal. Like
No,
from, even though it definitely feels like it, uh,
yeah,
they're not doing anything illegal, like in terms of like what's written in the CBA. So, um, props to them for having the money and the resources and the things like that, and be like, hey, this is how we're going to do it. And I do believe, and I've said this before, that sports are way better with a villain, with one
sure.
singular villain at the top, that everybody, the evil empire, everybody wants to topple, um, or prey on their demise, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
uh,
well, when that villain's like Thanos, who's impossible to kill, it kind of gets a little annoying.
yeah,
Although I guess they did kind of kill him in the end, didn't they? So
yeah.
maybe the Phillies will be the Avengers and take down Thanos.
Oh, that would be cool. We'll have to make sure we like Photoshop like some Phillies players with
Yeah, yeah.
on the
Listen,
Avengers.
I doubt it's gonna happen, but you're gonna need like the Phillies to combine with like the Mets and combine with like a couple other teams before you can like take down before you can form the Avengers and take down Thanos.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to do something like that. Maybe the Phillies should bring back. Maybe Middleton should buy the A's, bring them back to Philadelphia, and we make like a super team. Use all the.
What players do you want from the A's?
I don't know.
Other than Kurz, like he's the only guy that I care about
They
out
got to
there.
have some prospects or something. Something we could trade. I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, like,
Well, you said super team, right? Yeah, I who
well,
do the
like some
A's?
assets from the A's system or something like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well, the A's roster,
yeah,
the A's roster. Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson's a nice player. Brent Rooker, he was a Philly once, that everybody wanted to trade for. So
yeah. How about that?
other than that, they have nobody I care about. Tyler Soderstrom's not a bad player. He's all right.
Yeah, he's the catcher, right?
He catcher plays a lot of outfield too, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know anything about the prospect pool.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just throwing it out there. I don't know anything about it either. But they don't even have a name. They're not even the A's.
That's
So
true.
you know.
Leo DeVries, a shortstop prospect, is their number one prospect. Now, where he ranks among baseball, I don't know. Oh yeah, I can find it. He's the third ranked prospect in baseball. So there you go.
See, that means something to somebody. We can get something for
Sure,
that.
sure.
Like
All right,
that's what
fair
I'm
enough.
trying to get at.
Fair enough. And you know later you could look at the Dodgers lineup and see if Leo, what was his name, Leo DeVries helps beating that lineup. I don't know if it does.
I don't know.
That's the thing that's annoying about like the whole Dodgers thing is like it just feels like, again, the Phillies were a playoff team. They've been a perennial playoff team the last handful of years. Made a World Series, all that, and it feels like they don't have a goddamn chance to win.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think too. It's like I feel like this. Like I think we both felt this, but especially last year. Um, and coming into this year, I feel like this overwhelming sense of like dread of like sooner or later this thing's all gonna fall apart.
Yeah,
Like we're getting to that point now.
yeah. Yep.
And like I mean Dombrowski had this press conference and all today, and he said what he said about all the things we exhausted at the start of the show. But also, it's like one piece of that was like everybody. It's a foregone conclusion. Nick Castellanos is not going to be with the Phillies,
Hmm.
but he's still here,
Yep.
and it's because they can't move him because nobody wants that player at that number.
Yeah. Apparently, they're still looking for somebody to pay even just a small percentage of the contract.
Right.
So, like, if they can't, they're just going to tell him to sit home for $20 million.
That's worse than him just coming back and playing. But they can't even have him do that because
No,
his relationship with the manager is so toxic. Apparently, it bothers everybody in the dressing room.
and
So
I'm not even sure it's just the manager at this point. I think it's just the organization as a whole.
yeah,
I'm sure he feels some type of way towards Dombrowski, the fact that he's been this vocal. Like, I think it's the whole organization. I think that relationship's fried.
yeah. And I said on the last show, and I'll say it again, that I do think that they will never say that, but I do think that there's an ulterior motive, a quiet one, why Don Mattingly was brought here. Not only because his son's here and all, bench coach, well liked guy, but all for all those same reasons. If they have to kind of like pull that string, they will, and they'll have Mattingly there. And he's like well liked, and all the reasons when they fired Girardi that they went with Thompson because he was like this well liked guy. He was mostly a bench guy. Mattingly's managed before, but you know, um, but yeah, it was kind of like you want to have somebody ready with a high approval rating, and
Yeah, you mentioned that either last week or couple weeks ago, and it got me feeling a little tingly inside. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
That I think that's a strong possibility. Like I especially because like I feel like it's funny among like Phillies fans. It seems like Thompson should have been on the hot seat for the last like 2 or 3 seasons and like just hasn't been.
hmm
Now whether he has a short leash this season remains to be seen. I don't know if Dombrowski has the balls to do it. Um, yeah, we'll see.
yeah. It would only happen, I think, if this thing were really to kind of like start out wonky, um, and like where it doesn't look like they're going to beat anybody, kind of thing, or God forbid guys are hurt and whatever. It you know and like I
Yeah,
think the Castellanos
start
thing
like
is.
if they start like 15-30, I
Mhm.
could just see them kind of saying, "All right, let's change something here."
Oh my God, if they start out 50 and 30, I'm going to be on here begging them to,
Well, I didn't want to say like 15-15 because that's 500. They're not going to fire anybody over 500.
yeah,
So that's why I went 15-30.
yeah,
But
15 and 30 is egregious. Like, like
yeah, yeah,
if,
yeah.
if they
Especially
don't,
with this lineup expectations
yeah,
and all that.
like you got to do something. You got to fire the manager and make a trade for me to be like, all right, that's what they should do. Someone in that dressing room who's actually well liked and send a message to everybody else that this is unacceptable. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Um, but but yeah, that's another piece of it too. Where like this Castellanos thing that not that it's not late in the off season or anything like that, but I would have liked to have it. I would have liked the piece of that business to be resolved at this point. Um, you know, and but the fact that they're having such difficulty, like you said, to get anybody to kind of pick that contract up is very concerning at this point.
And they don't even know the whole like the whole contract's not going to happen at this point. You need
Yeah,
somebody to agree to take like I don't know if the Phillies could pay 17 out of 20 million, I think they'd do it to
yeah,
save $3 million. Like I think they'd do it. Maybe if like 19 million, if they could save $1 million, I think they'd send him away.
yeah.
I
I would
just
really like to know what exactly, like, if they're coming to teams, are they saying, or teams coming to them being like, hey, like, we can only grab 3% of this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's the thing. Like it's weird because like I'm obviously it hasn't been like great over the last couple seasons, but I don't think he's been so abysmal that like a team wouldn't want to see if they could kind of fix him a little bit.
mhm.
Because he obviously, I mean, he was solid his last year in Cincinnati. He was really good. It's only one season, so you don't have to commit to $20 million long term. I'm surprised some team doesn't say, "Yeah, I'll take him for $3 million, like whatever." Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, you know, Nick's time with the Phillies was really strange. I think when you
Hmm.
look at him singular, like you focus on him, like it's just kind of like, his highs were very high. When he
A
was
couple really
hitting,
nice moments. Yep.
yeah, he had some really good stretches of baseball, and then there were moments where, like, one of them are, especially for a team that's like a competitive team in the playoffs, like, annually. It was like one of the worst plate approaches I've ever seen in like postseason and things like that. Total lack of discipline. Maybe that's what led to some of that friction with Thompson. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, there were times, where he was quite good for the Phillies, and but I mean, it just, at this point, he's not long for this, and the fact that they've had the issues they've had with, like you said, it's probably organizationally at this point. People are just ready for him to move on. Maybe he's ready to move on, and uh, you know, the money's the big obstacle, which is also why you got to be careful about your investments there. You know what I mean? Like,
Although when they signed him, I don't think anybody saw it going this way.
no, I didn't think, even at the time. I was kind of weary of the fact that they were signing him and Schwarber. Like, I
Hmm.
was okay with one or the other. I think at that point, provided they were going to invest somewhere else, whether it was
Hmm.
pitching or whatever. Um, but when they signed them both, I wasn't super, super excited about that at the time. Um, I felt differently once they got hot and all that other stuff. But some things happened on the way there too, right? Like, a manager got fired. There was all this other stuff too. So it wasn't like a clean, steady upward trajectory to the World Series against the Astros and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep, for sure. I don't know how we got back onto the Phillies there, but
yeah,
uh, I don't really have a whole lot to discuss with the Eagles and the coaching search, and I think at this point, Dable's probably at the top of my list. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to talk about Eagles wise before we get out of here.
no, I right, like you said earlier, McDaniel and the Chargers. Is
Yep.
that official now? Like, he's going?
Schefter tweeted it that he's expected to sign as their OC.
Okay,
So it's not
yeah,
officially official, but it's pretty close.
pretty close. Yeah, I think Dable, like, in terms of just like
So here's the tweet from Adam Schefter. Former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel is expected to become the Chargers offensive coordinator, barring a change of heart. McDaniel has informed other teams that they're out. The Chargers clearly want him, and the two sides are having dinner tonight. But the expectation across the league is that McDaniel will be staying in LA.
all right, yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be a pretty fun fit there.
I mean,
He's got Herbert.
theoretically, yes, but when you talk about Justin Herbert's just so like blah.
Yeah,
I'm tired of hearing about how great Justin Herbert is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. If offensive guru Mike McDaniel can't fix him, then I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't really know. Like when it comes to the Eagles and Dable, I mean, like he seems like the foregone conclusion for them at this point. Like a lot of the guys, like the two guys, right? McDaniel's going to L.A. Another guy that I think I don't know if they were considering or I read somewhere people mentioning him was Kevin Stefanski,
Mm-hmm.
who's now with the Falcons. I think he took the Falcons
Yep.
job. Um, so I mean, like Dable really kind of like he kind of I don't want to say he's the only choice because I'm not as familiar with the other candidates. So maybe that's where what I should like. I'm most familiar with Dable, uh, considering his connection. He was with the Giants. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing. And as you said before, like him being with Josh in Buffalo. Um, like I would imagine he would be the guy that they would be zeroing in on here. Um, Anybody else, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know enough about them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of with you there. I know there's been a couple college names thrown out there as well. Um, what about the guy who knew Hurts in college? Yeah, that would be Dable.
Yeah,
Dable,
that's
the former
yep.
New York coach, coach him in Alabama. He was. I mean, Hurts got. I think he was the OC when Hurts got benched for Tua. Um, so I don't know if there's still bad blood there. I doubt it because that was probably a Nick Saban decision instead of a
Right.
Brian Dable decision, if I had to guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, Dable I think would be my top choice. I mean, I know things didn't go great for him in New York, but he had I think he had only one solid season, one half
Mhm.
decent season at least, with New York. And sometimes you're just not cut out to be a head coach. Sometimes you're much better as an OC. And Josh Allen played pretty damn good under Brian Dable in Buffalo. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think too. It's a part of like the management aspect of it too, right? Like you know, when you're a coordinator or you work like for a QB coach or something like that, you have uh, what you're in charge of is smaller. You know what I mean? Whereas like you have a lot under your umbrella as a head coach, and some
mhm.
guys I think might work better in interpersonal settings where you're like you can really work close with a guy. Um, and you know, the fact that Dable and Hertz have worked together in the past in college and stuff like that, uh, and there's already a pretty good familiarity with him there, I think would is definitely a plus for him, provided he wants this job. I would imagine that's a plus for the Eagles, a pretty big one. Um, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I would imagine he's at the top of the list. He's got to be at the top of the list.
Yeah. All right. One last question before we get out of here. I'll leave you with this.
All right.
We talked about it a little bit last week. This is now a week and a half since the Eagles lost the playoff game to the Niners. Is AJ Brown on the roster next season? Gun to your head. How you feeling? Because I'm still not sure about it.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm going to say no. I know the money's a big time obstacle, but the news that came out recently about him, like apparently wanting or trying to get traded or whatever, I don't know how true that is, or what's sifting through you know what's true and what's not there. But um, if nothing else, the body language and things like that this year, something was very strange.
I kind of buy those reports.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you remember early in the season, random reports came out about like the Eagles might trade AJ Brown, and we're all like, "What? Why?" Like they kind of came out of nowhere. They were just random off the wall reports. Maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe he legitimately was either asked for a trade or they kept it very hush hush and closed door and everything. So I'm kind of impressed that didn't get out. But like I don't. I kind of buy it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It's just it's hard for me to believe too. Like, no one would have got that scoop
Sure.
if
Yeah.
he did ask,
Mhm.
especially here. You know what I
True.
mean? Like that somebody would have said something. It at least feels that way to me. Unless the Eagles run a way tighter ship now than they used to. Um,
Mm, Howard Roseman's ready to talk about anything to anybody, and anytime there's any sort of like drama with the Eagles, 99 times out of 100, it comes from Howie Roseman. So,
Yeah, or his office.
right, yes, yes,
Yeah, I agree. And so it's like that's the only thing that gives me pause. But I mean, now that like we're looking back on it, we have the benefit of hindsight. It definitely feels that way, where it was like, excuse me, yeah, like there definitely could have been. I mean, he could have been bending their ear for the last year and a half,
hmm
which is even more, which is even crazier because they just won a championship,
yeah.
and it just it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, no matter whether you're like the hot Pro Bowler receiver type, like number one guy, it doesn't matter. Like you're a part of a like this is what you work your whole life for. So I don't I don't understand that. I don't understand.
What did he do in that game? Did he do anything crazy? I mean, I know they put up like 40 points, but what
Yeah,
do you remember what he did? I'm gonna have to look.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I know Devontae had a couple of big plays. I don't remember what. I'm looking it up
There was a
now.
pick six.
AJ Brown, 3 catches, 43 yards. And if
Hmm.
I remember correctly, I'd have to go back and look at the post. I'm pretty sure AJ Brown after that game posted something about like not being satisfied.
Hmm.
I don't think. Yeah, sure, winning's fun. I don't know that it's number one to AJ Brown. I think he wants his. He wants to be the guy, and that's all that's his top thing on his list.
Yeah, and you know what? That all right. I don't particularly understand that, but that's your prerogative, right? If that's how you feel.
I think I'm remembering it, the timeline. I'll see if I go back and find the post.
Yeah, and he probably scrubbed it. It's probably gone.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah. Um, but like that's fine if that's your prerogative or whatever. But like, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. Like I think of guys like this is not apples to apples, right? But like, I think of an athlete and a player like a Dennis Rodman, who like was on championship Bulls teams. He'd go nights, no points, no assists, but he'd bring down 25 rebounds.
So I have a post. This was posted February 12th, 2025 on Instagram. After a few days, it's pretty long, so bear with me. After a few days, I've had time to reflect on being a champion. I try to feel how everyone made it seem to be a champion, and unfortunately, it was short lived. 2 days to be exact. I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. My thrill for this game comes when I dominate. It's the hunt that does it for me. It's when the DB drops his head and surrenders because he can't F with me. The intense battles, early mornings, late nights, sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. It's the journey that I love most, back to work. So that tells me he just wants to be the guy. Like, that's
Yeah,
what he wants.
yeah. I just, yeah. I guess so. I can't identify with that. You
Yeah,
know, I just can't identify with that. I don't know why you'd want that.
right. So,
Especially
yeah,
when
he enjoyed winning the Super Bowl for a day or two, but, like, when you reflected, he's like, I only had, what would I say, 30. I only had 3 catches, 43 yards.
yeah,
I didn't really do my part. That's his mentality.
yeah. Well, too, and then like with it comes, and maybe that's why this is all going to come to a head this off season. But then it becomes like you're talking about that stuff, and that's fine. Go out there and back it up.
Sure.
This past playoff, he didn't back it up,
Yep.
and
You had the opportunity to make yourself the guy and have crucial moments in a big spot.
yeah, and he plays in a city and in a market where people are going to talk about it,
Yep.
and they're going to talk about it till next season. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So, or until you give them a reason to forget it. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I can't identify with that, like I said. So that for all that and for all those things we mentioned, I can't see him back next year. And like I said, I know that there's financial obstacles there, like in trying to trade him, but and it would put the Eagles in a tough spot. But you know, I think they're at a point now with the success they've had in recent years where like they're the type of franchise that can kind of rely on their laurels a little bit in the sense that hey, like we can rely on our culture to get us through this. You
Yeah,
know,
and Howie's the guy that's like has a reputation of being like creative financially and worrying about the money and being fine with the
Mhm.
cap. So with the hard cap hit that trading him will bring, Howie's the guy that could figure it out.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. So that would be my guess right now. Would be that he would, you know, we're not going to have him next year,
I think I'm with you
and
on that.
yeah, so we'll have to wait and see there. But that's what I'm picking.
All right, sounds good. You got anything else to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I
We
don't
we could
think so.
we could talk more Flyers next week. We really get to them much tonight, but they're kind of middling around. I guess we'll say
Yeah,
that. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. We will see everybody next Tuesday. See you then.